Thank you very much for tuning in. All right, so this video is about the honorable women in my life. The honorable women in my life. Okay, so this is the. I mean, I'm worried. My grandmother's in the hospital. She's 97 years old. She's 97 years old. So, we think she's got a pneumonia or something like that. She can't breathe and all that stuff. So they got her on the oxygen, running tests and all that stuff. And, it's very, very worrisome, right? It's a worrisome thing to imagine my 97-year-old grandmother. She's sick and all this stuff in the hospital right now. They took her by ambulance. And, so, I mean, she's very strong, right? 97 years old. Right? She's always getting sick and then she's getting better. Actually, she's not always getting sick, but when in the rare occasion that she gets sick, she gets better, and so I'm not worried. I mean, I am, worried. I want to get her better and all this stuff, but 97 years old, man, it can, get to a point where it could be serious. Um, but I just very love my grandmother very much, right? She's just, the whole point about this video is the honorable women in my life, the honorable women in my life. So I made a video about, another woman in my life that wasn't so honorable. So this one is about the honorable women in my life. I really won the jackpot when I was born. I was born in a family of like, hey, you guys. I was like, hey, what's these wonderful grandmothers? Okay, so let's talk about my grandmother. I mean, she graduated when she was like 18 from university, right? You know she went into the accelerated programs and everything, and she went to a boarding school in Quebec. Yeah, she's like a French master. Right? Any kind of French, problems. So we just called my grandmother up and, can you clarify this French problem? And she's like, oui. And she's great. My grandmother's great. So she was married, and then she had my mother, and then a couple other guys, right, on the iffy side, but whatever. And then, really, really wonderful grandmother. And she was widowed, and then she's here, right? She's great, wonderful grandmother. And my other grandmother. Let's talk about my other grandmother. Now, I cannot say anything bad about my wonderful grandmother, my other grandmother. She's always been there, and she's married to my grandfather. She's been, there was a strong marriage, a whole bunch of kids and all this stuff, and she's great, right? She's a giver of life, a keeper at home. I mean, what? How much better of a woman, honorable, godly woman, can you accept? Right? She doesn't like evil things. She likes good things. She's a great, wonderful grandmother, right? She's the great grandmother of my sugar shark over here, and my other children too. She's a great grandmother in the sense that she's a great grandmother, and also she's great, and she is a grandmother, right? So there you go. Also, my grandmother, right? I got to talk about my grandmother, Grandmère Dora. Grandmère Dora. So this story progressed, right? So at first I was at the opinion, because my grandmother, my granddaughter was living next door to my house, and so basically in 1943 she was a widow, and she had very, very young children at the time. She was a widow because her husband, which was my grandfather, went to war and died. Okay, my grandfather went to war and died, and then she was a widow. Okay, so then at first I was like, what? The government is going to take away her pension and all this stuff if she remarries? That's so terrible of the government and all this stuff. Well, maybe it is, but, let's think about what happened. Okay, what happened is she kept my grandfather's honor. So I just imagine myself going to war. Let's say, for example, I'm, fighting and dying in the battlefield, and my wife, doesn't remarry and keeps my honor and keeps my last name and everything like that. Well, she did, right? She died with Dora and my last name, right? A family name, right? Because she was another name when she was married to my grandfather. So now she kept his honor, right? Honorable grandmothers, right? Wonderful, wonderful grandmothers. Let's talk about my mother, for example. She's a little bit on the lefty side, but she's great on the, other than her, lefty loosey opinions. So sometimes she's a little bit on the feminist side, but you can't hold it against her because she is very, very good. Now she's, a widow. She was a widow at 25 years old. I mean, how can you expect anything anything good to come out of that? But she did the best she could. Sometimes, and she really, really kept my dad's honor, right? So that is the wonderful thing, right? That is the wonderful thing. So, like I said, a little bit on the lefty loosey side, but she's great, right? She's really, really great, and she loves my kids, and she loves my kids, and my kids can look up to her and say, "Wow, I have this wonderful grandmother," and she is. She's a wonderful woman and an honorable lady to have kept my dad's honor. Right? She was, imagine that, 25 years old, raising me on my knees over here. My husband died. It was 6 kids, right? I just one. I was just one baby, but that was the equivalent of six, I guess. So rambunctious. But then, my mom kept my dad's honor, right? And the honor is still there today, right? To this day. Right? There's no terrible thing, right? It's okay, minor bumps in the road or whatever, but it's not a terrible thing. I mean, it's all right. Yeah. So the honor is there, right? Honorable ladies in my life, and of course my wife. Okay, so I'm gonna talk about my wife because she's, man. So the cooking. Talk about my wife's cooking. Today she made all these vegetables. She, the laundry. She cleaned a whole bunch of laundry, right? My shirt is clean. My bed is brand new, and my heart is filled with joy. Man, my wife is great. I tell you right now, I hit the jackpot when I met my wife. What a wonderful one. Sometimes, but most of the time, she's great. A large portion of the time, she's great. But I get how she feels. She's got three wonderful children that at times are very naughty. Well, naughty, wonderful, but they're running around and everything. Well, plus we got some teenagers, right? The teenagers are always whatever comes with that, right? Teenagers, yeah, real legitimate teenagers, yeah. So that's not easy. So honorable lady, right? So she had a terrible thing that happened in her life, but she's honorable. 100%. And I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't make this video if my wife wasn't honorable. So I got my grandmother, Dora, my wonderful grandmother, and my other wonderful grandmother, and my wife, and my mother, and my wife. Now that's five. And here's my wonderful daughter. My daughter. Oh man, my daughter. She had some things that I'm not going to mention, which is terrible. But anyway, my daughter, and there's this whole thing. Are you really the dad? Yes, I am the dad. I'm the dad. It's me. I'm the dad. And there's a story about that, but I am actually the dad, right? But anyway, she was born out of wedlock or whatever, but that doesn't matter. I mean, she's a very, very nice young lady, right? And I love her because she's my daughter. Because I mean, that's the way it is. That was a coconut that fell out of the tree. If you heard that, so what happens is these coconut trees. Okay, there's coconut trees, and all of a sudden, it falls to the ground. That's what that was. And if you're standing there, you're gonna die. Anyway, all right. So my daughter. Let's talk about my sugar shark for a minute. My sugar shark is my. Let's see. My fourth biological child, man. Oh well, that has been alive. That is born. Right. I did have another child prior to that did not survive the pregnancy due to these terrible things that happened. But anyway, my child here, my sugar shark. Right. So smart, so beautiful and precious and lovely. Honorable, 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 honorable. Oh, just so wonderful to have her in my life. She kind of looks like my mom. I don't know. She looks exactly like my mom. I don't know. And of course, my princess, right? My baby girl. Okay, there's a lovely cutie beauty, if you've ever seen one, right? So the honorable women in my life. So I think it's very important to make this video contrasted with the fact that there's another, very, very terrible thing that happened from a dishonorable woman in my life, which is Dr. Michelle Dell, which is the whole point of this video. But contrasted by, okay, well, I was blessed with all these wonderful women. Am I a misogynist or, women hater or something like that? No, absolutely not. I just recognize, I'm mature enough to recognize the fact that they are lefty loosies and they are, they really, have erred, morally and ethically erred from, just basic common decency. Um, so now, contrast that with the wonderful women in my life and my grandmother. So my grandmother, she's in the hospital right now. She's got this pneumonia thing. Ay. She's the ambulance actually took her to the hospital, so I'm a little bit worried about that. So hopefully everything will be good. I'm sure it'll be fine. But I mean, she's getting old, 97 years old. So they got the cleaning lady going there and helping her out and all this stuff. But 97 years old, and she doesn't really want to go to a home, the villa or anything like that, which I don't blame her. She wants to stay home, and she gets helpers go in there and everything, but it's far to the bathroom. She's very, very far to go there. They could move her bedroom or whatever. I don't know if she wants. I would probably move the bedroom in the other room, or the living room in the other room. Whatever. Anyway, whatever. I'm not there. But anyway, honorable ladies in my life. Very, very nice to make this video. Heartwarming video. It makes me feel like, oh man, there's hope after all. Yeah. Yeah, there certainly is, especially with my wife. I'm gonna go in my wife's very, very tired. She did a whole bunch of laundry today, so I'm off the hook. So I can stay up a little bit and make these videos, I guess. Sometimes I just lay in the bed, in our shared bed together, my wife and my kids. Right, there's a whole bunch of kids in my bed, and they're kicking and punching, and they wake up my wife. They wake up my wife all the time. Oh man, and she just knows exactly how to place them and manipulate them, and she knows everything. She knows everything around this house. Try to find something, I can't find anything, but she knows exactly where everything is. It's a big house too. I mean, it's not a small house, and she knows everything. My wife is great. My grandmother's great. My mom is great. My grandmother, she was great. My daughter is great. My sugar shark is great. My wonderful baby girl, right? She's great. But the one woman in my life, my aunt. Let's talk about my aunt for a minute. She's great. I got a wonderful aunt. I get my aunt on my grandmother's side. She's great. But there's one aunt, one cousin thing. Cousin, aunt, sister kind of thing. My life, Dr. Michelle Dow. What? What's going on here? No, I mean, what are you doing? Why can't you be great? Why, why, why did you do this? Why did you do this terrible thing? Oh, that's painful. That is painful. That is a really, really painful thing to grasp the reality that so many great women, and then this family member of mine did this thing, right? Right? Get out of here.